Good morning and welcome to the Mayu Teca radio show. I'd like to introduce myself. Midakuyapi, Chante Washte Napechiuzapi, Shobi Amakiapiya, Maza Khadahrawi Miya. I am Shobi Zatina. I am the director for the Youth and Family Tree. We are speaking today just about program updates and some exciting things going on with the Sistin Waptinoyate behavioral health. We have a lot of things going on despite the weather and taking up a lot of these days, but we are still working diligently for the Oyate and getting the services that our youth and our adults need. And so I just want to welcome everyone to the Mayu Teca show, and I will go ahead and get started with the topics that I wanted to cover today. So one of them being that I came on the radio show, I think in November it was, so I haven't been on here for a while, and so it's just catching everybody up, catching the community and the Sistin Waptinoyate up on the happenings or the program updates. So one thing that I wanted to share is that we talked in November about the youth services that we were awarded from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. And that's the government, it's a government agency that provides grants to tribes that fund, they are the funding source for the tribe to provide services. We were awarded a 5-year grant, and we were able to get some services in place for the youth ages 12 to 25. So that's the age group that we serve at the Youth and Family Tree. And we are providing mental health services and substance abuse services, substance use disorder and mental health. So what that is we've gone around to several districts talking about our services, which has been a really good outcome. We've so far covered Buffalo Lake. We have spoke to Long Hollow and Long Hollow, and what was the third one? I believe it was Old Agency that we've talked to. So we've covered 3 districts. We got 4 left to go, and that's giving education on our services and also education on what the nature is of substance abuse and mental health. And so it's just a lot of education for the community, and that's one of our tasks in our grant to cover is education. And so today I want to do some education outreach for the community. If you're wanting more information on what substance use and mental health may look like, if your child is struggling with either one of those, and that also includes suicidality or suicide ideation, suicide attempts, and so I'll go a little bit into that today too. But first of all, I just wanted to talk about the programming. And the program consists of serving our youth ages 12 to 17, and that's intensive outpatient treatment for chemical dependency. We have our healing of the canoe services. That's a culturally based therapeutic strategy that reduces suicidality and substance use with the youth. So that's a part of our programming that we are implementing in our treatment, and we want to. I'm kind of paraphrasing our mission statement, but we want to create our youth to give our youth the best services, to provide them with the best services so that they can be in abstinence, or they can be in sobriety, and they can get treatment for mental health conditions so that they can be fully functioning and ultimately give back to the community and be sustainable for our community. But first we start with, the individual. We look at the individual and we look at how, what kind of services that they need. We look at, do they need hospitalization? Do they need, treatment? Do they need prevention? Maybe they just need some education on chemical use or mental health education. And so we look at that person, and then we look at their family and environment and other factors that contribute to their situation. So we look at different aspects of their life and we say, okay, well, I think these services will benefit you where you're at. And that's where we believe their recovery journey starts, is when they first come in. They are the minute that they are sober, and that's where the first initial help that they seek is where they start their recovery journey. So we also do what's called school-based treatment, in which a lot of the times we have several barriers to treatment. One of them being, transportation, one of them being, family situations, whatever that barrier might be for that person to succeed in treatment. We look at that aspect too. So we do go into the schools and we provide services for our youth, and we say we service Enemy Swim, we service Teosh Bazina, System Middle School, High School, and we're looking at servicing Browns Valley. We also service Circle of Nations boarding school in Wapton. So those have been the schools that we have actually made contact with students there, or administration as well. So just moving forward with those services, that looks like, they could get mental health treatment and chemical dependency treatment within the school as well. We're looking at contracting with a recovery coach, and that the recovery coach, what they do is they make sure that that people are succeeding in their treatment, whether it be with a counselor, a licensed counselor, whether it be with their nutrition specialist, making sure that they're following that treatment plan and following them all the way through treatment. So it's another support system for that person, that client or that individual. We have our after-school group counselor, and she does the mental health and chemical dependency support groups. So they are running, from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then we also have evening groups that go from 6 to 7. If you're interested in coming to a support group that's open for the community, please get a hold of us and let us know that you're interested in that support group. We have our licensed addictions counselor, our youth service provider, and she works one-on-one with clients. She also does group therapy. She does different therapies within the treatment setting. Then we have our family coordinator, in which she works primarily with the families, but also individually too. So yeah, we have several staff on board that are just kind of working hard in trying to coordinate services and get the ball rolling with that. And I think so far we're still having different needs, but at the same time we've been servicing the youth for several months now. Oftentimes people get into treatment because they have maybe a crisis, and so they start out with reaching out through our crisis line and the Native Connections crisis line. So we've had that going for a couple years now. That's how some of our youth get into treatment. We also have like self referrals and families. So families or the individual will come in, they need help, they know that they need treatment, or they're wanting treatment, wanting to seek treatment, and so they come in. And then we also, like I said, we work with the schools, and the schools will refer somebody in. We also work with the court system, so anyone, maybe child protection, probation services, drug court services, and they're needing, again, evaluations, they're needing treatment. We work closely with that sector too for the tribe. So, and then other treatment services such as Dakota Pride, HSC, which is down in Yankton, Avera Medical Health Center, other treatment facilities around, such as Chief Gull, that's another treatment facility that we work closely with. That's a youth inpatient treatment. So we get referrals from different directions, and then we get the services we also provide aftercare services, or continuing care is what we like to call it. So continuing care is usually just 1 to 3 groups a week that person needs. Maybe they were in inpatient treatment and they're needing continuing care services. We provide that too. If they are an adult, ages 18 to 25, and they're needing treatment, then they can attend Mayu Teca, and that serves our adult population. And they have day treatment, they have intensive outpatient, and they have aftercare as well. I think they hold some support group meetings during the day, such as AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and so they do it over the lunch hour, I believe. But if you have any questions, again, get a hold of us. And my UTECHA is 698-2110. And then our number for the behavioral health is 698-2106. And you can get a hold of us through that number too. So, as I said earlier, I kind of just wanted to talk about the nature of mental health and substance use. Oftentimes, when the youth they are having what we call an onset of a mental illness, is usually when in our adolescent teen years, especially when it comes to a substance use disorder. And so we look at changes in behavior, and most of the time, that family or that caregiver knows that person, that youth. They know how that youth usually functions. Maybe they are maybe they like certain sports, maybe they have certain friends, maybe they like to participate in different activities. And so the family member will then see those behaviors change. Maybe they're more isolated. Maybe they have certain difficulties in school, behavioral issues in school. And you see a lot of changes in that onset of either, like I said, a mental health or chemical dependency. You're just going to ultimately see changes in behaviors with that person. And that's where we reach out to that youth or to that adolescent to say, we have services that could help you, that can best support you through a difficult time. And so some of those changes in behavior might be that they lack motivation. When when we're talking about a mental illness in particular, sometimes we usually talk about two different chemicals in the brain, and that has to do with the dopamine and the serotonin. So the serotonin is responsible for our motivation. When we think about serotonin, we should think about motivation, what motivates us to get up in the morning, to wake up, to get ready, to do our daily functions. We think about what it takes to motivate us to get to school or to work, what motivates us to, socialize with our friends. And we have a real delicate balance of that chemical serotonin in our brain that allows us to be motivated throughout the day to function. And our dopamine chemical within the brain is responsible for a sense of well-being. So just, everything's going to be okay. We're moving in the right direction. We have this sense of well-being. And again, that's a delicate balance that we have in our brain that that goes throughout the day. And so that allows us to function. And when those are disrupted, or maybe there's not enough, or maybe there's too much of either one of those chemicals in the brain, then everything starts getting off balance. Our functioning, our daily activities, our socialization with our friends, all of those things start to change. When it pertains to chemical use, those two major chemicals get disrupted in the brain. And so if you can start thinking of whether or not that dopamine is overactivated, or maybe there's not enough, it's going to change what we do, which is changing our behaviors. So again, that person might be isolating themselves. They might be not motivated to go to their sport practice. They might not be motivated to talk to someone about what's going on. They might not be motivated to do daily activities such as cook or clean or get up in the morning. And so it becomes ultimately debilitating for that person to carry out their daily functions. Again, that, like I was talking about, the dopamine, when it's over activated with drug and alcohol use, that delicate balance gets off and affects our thinking and our behaviors. And so what that looks like is that we don't have a sense of well-being. We might be thinking, okay, drug and alcohol use is helping us in that moment, that, oh, it's getting me to sleep. It's making me feel like a sense of well-being. And what drug and alcohol use over time actually does is reverse those effects. So, it depletes the dopamine, and it allows us to not function properly, such as we don't have that sense of well-being anymore. Now we're just using drugs and alcohol to stay afloat and to function, I guess you could say. And it's no longer, I'm doing this to get high, I'm doing this to get drunk. It's more of a, I need to function. And that's kind of what we refer to in treatment as tolerance. And tolerance is a really important word too when it comes to chemical use. And because every single person on earth will have a tolerance, and you use more and more, and over time you have to use more of that drug and alcohol to again carry out some functioning. So then it starts affecting us in many different ways. We don't have that delicate balance that is supposed to be working in the brain of our chemicals, and it affects relationships. It affects our daily work, our daily tasks. We're unable to get to school. We're unable to get to our appointments, because of these different issues. And it literally happens at the chemical level in the brain. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, just because I'm wanting to hopefully allow people to understand what it's like when you have a mental illness, when you have a chemical dependency or substance use disorder, and to just kind of give you an idea as far as what happens at the chemical level, and our behaviors too. And so that's who the client comes in, and they get the services and they say, you know, there's something terribly wrong here. You know, I'm not able to, I'm getting in trouble with the school. You know, I'm continuing my use despite my consequences. I've had people tell me, you know, you should quit, but I'm unable to. And so that's when we have that addiction there. And so we're able to bring that person in and get them help. And we strive for holistic care. So holistic care means that we're treating the whole person. We want to look at what conditions do they come in with their physical well-being. Are they able to function during treatment? Are they able to be comfortable enough with any kind of medical care, medical conditions? Are they, you know, we want to look at their mind, body, and spirit, and just those different aspects that we have to make up our whole self or well-being, or our whole being. And that's kind of like a what we call a medicine wheel concept, which it comes from the Red Road concepts, where we have 4 parts of ourselves, and we want to be able to treat each part: our physical, emotional, mental, social, and we want to be able to treat that person holistically. And again, that's right there in our mission and vision statements, is to look at that person as a whole. And so I'm hoping to continue to be on the radio again and just be either giving education or, you know, updates on what's going on with our programming. We did accomplish a lot within these last couple months. One thing is our youth coalition, and we meet each month. It's pretty much stakeholders and people that deal with the youth, and, you know, whether it be Alive Roberts County, the youth center, and counselors that deal with youth in the school setting, the education department, just various stakeholders that ultimately have the youth's best interests. And so we've come together over a 3-month period and talked about some really important events coming up, and we're looking forward in the near future to continue these events that either share education or prevention services. So just be on the lookout as far as what is out there with our community. It'll be, you know, advertised in the Shota. We're having a take back, where the take back is about opioid use or painkiller or over-the-counter medication. And we're doing a take back with the tribal police department, in which you're able to dispense your medication that you do not use. You're able to, we're still finalizing that schedule, but people will just have medication out. And we know that in our area, most overdoses happen with either over-the-counter medication or painkiller medication. And so we want to be able to lock up our medication to help prevent overdoses. And we're looking at that event in April. So just be on the lookout, either in the Shota or the Sistine Courier, as far as what you can do with extra medication. And just be cognizant or aware that, you know, we do want to lock up our medication over the counter, such as Tylenol, ibuprofen, and then painkiller medications, and any kind of over-the-counter medications that you have in your home. So that's what that campaign is about. The Youth Coalition will continue on with other events, and just be on the lookout. And so if you have any other questions for the Youth and Family Tree, just let us know. Again, our number is 698-2106, or you can call and schedule an appointment too at Mayu, Teca, and that's 698-2110. But thank you for having me again, and I will hopefully be speaking on the radio soon. Thank you.